My name is Maliha. I got 10 grade 9s in my GCSEs, including a level 2 distinction star, and this is basically all the revision that I did to get the grades that I did get. I just want to quickly say before we get into the video that I respond to comments and I take video requests. So if you have any questions or any videos you want me to do, don't feel shy, please leave a comment or email me. My email is in my channel bio. So let's just get into it. First thing I want to say is make sure that you do establish some kind of routine, not only so that you can get all your revision done effectively, but also so you have time for other things like sleep, for example, leisure time, spending time with family and friends as well. Because if you do not have a routine in place, then what tends to happen is your revision is spread sporadically throughout the day, and then those little minutes in between just kind of fall through the cracks because of procrastination, which you could have otherwise spent doing other things. So I spent around 2 to 3 hours in the beginning, especially during my revision, and then this gradually increased to around 4 to 5 hours closer and closer to exam season. And I was using the Pomodoro technique to break that up. Obviously I wasn't sitting there and doing 4 to 5 hours of revision in one go. I was using the interval technique of the Pomodoro technique to make sure that I was getting breaks in there, because you want to make sure that you have breaks so you can revise with full attention, because if you're not taking breaks, your attention is going to be slipping. Every day I had 2 parts to my revision. The first part was my daily revision, and then the second part was my targeted subject-specific revision. So that would depend on the day of the week. So for example, if it was Monday, then I'd be doing maths. If it was Tuesday, I'd be doing English, etc. So basically that depends on your revision timetable. For my daily revision, that consisted of a few things. The first thing was doing my maths and science flashcards every single day for around 10 minutes. And it may not seem like much, but that 10 minutes builds up over time. And maths and science aren't that content heavy, especially maths. They're more skills based. They're more skills based than they are content heavy. And then when you're doing past papers, especially for maths, which is crucial, then you're going to have a lot more confidence when you're doing the past papers because you already know most of the stuff. And then of course on the specific days of the week, then you can do more heavy content revision, especially for science. Every day I also had a flashcard set on all of the question structures for English and history that I was doing every single day on Quizlet. I would have linked it in the description, but I think I deleted it after I did my English and history exams. But yeah, make sure you do have some kind of Quizlet set or flashcard set of the structures, because knowing the structures for English and history is very important, so you can easily put them into practice during your past papers and you won't have to waste any time thinking about what structure you're going to be using because you already know it. I'd also do my history flashcard sets every single day, because in history there is a lot of stuff to remember. So knowing the content off the bat and then being able to spend your history focused revision on past papers is crucial. I've linked my history flashcard sets in the description, so you can go check that out as well. Continuing on with my daily revision, I would also do a few Duolingo lessons and a few Memrise lessons as well every single day, because Duolingo was very much grammar focused and Memrise was more vocabulary focused, and that was obviously for my French GCSE. And finally, I would also do every single day a maths past paper while watching my TV shows. And I was able to do that because watching TV and doing maths requires different parts of your brain, so you can do them at the same time. So that did give me a bit of leisure in the evenings, but it also allowed me to get my maths revision in. And because maths is so skills based, it is very important that you do some form of maths past paper exam practice revision every single day. And you can do that by either finding past papers on Physics and Maths Tutor or by going on Coolbet Maths, which has questions and past paper worksheets on there, I believe. Okay, so now let's move on to my targeted revision, what I did each day for my different subjects. So let's start with English. So for English, when I was having my targeted revision, I was doing past papers basically. That took up the bulk of my revision. Past papers under timed conditions, and then handing in those exam question responses to my teacher for them to mark and then give me feedback on. I was also reading up on scholarly articles for English literature, because reading up on those articles written by like professors of literature, they can really give you a bit of insight and context about what was happening around the time of the text. For example, Romeo and Juliet. If you go on Google Scholar and then you search up the text, for example, Romeo and Juliet, you'll find a bunch on there written by different professors of literature. Obviously, you don't copy those ideas, but you take inspiration from them so that you can use some of your own ideas in your work inspired from them. For maths, I was basically covered with my daily revision in terms of maths, because I was already doing flashcards on past papers every day. But on my targeted revision days, I would also be doing extra past papers, extra exam questions, and if there was any gaps in my knowledge, I'd be refining those gaps by watching videos. Science, for me, it was mainly content revision over past paper revision, and for that I was basically watching free science lessons on YouTube. He was my go-to because he has videos on everything, basically every single topic within the specification. And while you are watching those videos and doing your form of content revision for science, I'd recommend taking your notes and making them into flashcards, especially on Study Smarter. Study Smarter, I didn't use that during my GCSEs, but I used that during my A-levels, and obviously A-levels is a lot more content heavy than GCSEs, but it helped me so much because it has a spaced repetition algorithm. So I'd recommend making flashcards or doing some other form of active recall, such as blurting, to make sure the notes and the information stick in your head. History, I was already doing the content revision every single day, so my history targeted revision was mainly just past papers under timed conditions. It's crucial that you do it under timed conditions because history especially is super time pressured, and it was something that I struggled with the most. So what I would do is I would get the past paper from the physics and maths tutor on my tablet, and I would get my phone and I would set the timer on my phone for however long the exam was. For example, I think the America paper was 45 minutes when I was doing my GCSEs. I think it's gone up now, but it was 45 minutes back then. And then I'd set 45 minutes on the phone, on the timer on my phone, and then on my notebook I'd be writing the answers. I would also watch documentaries, for example Rise of the Nazis, I think it was, on BBC Bite Size, which gave me a lot of context about what was actually happening around the time, rather than just a bunch of facts thrown at me in a textbook. Knowing the context and seeing it play out like a story, such as in documentaries, is really good because it gives you a much more informed perspective of what was actually happening around the time, so you get to understand it a lot more. For French, I would listen to French podcasts. It was on Google Podcasts, but obviously I think Google Podcasts has been taken down for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but you'll probably be able to find French podcasts on YouTube. Also watching French shows. If you can't find a show that you like in French or whatever language you're learning, then you can go on Netflix, and some of the shows you can change the audio to the language that you're learning, or you can change the subtitles to the language that you're learning as well. I would also write random French paragraphs about anything, just that practice writing basically. Just any topic that I could think of, I'd write a paragraph about it. And I'd also do extra Duolingo and memorise lessons as well. Citizenship, I would make flashcards using my resources that I had. So for me, it was knowledge organisers. If you don't have knowledge organisers, then you can use your textbook, or you can ask your teacher to email you the PowerPoints from class. Then I'd make flashcards on those on Quizlet, which I've linked in the description below. And I would just go over those flashcards in my targeted revision, and I would go over past papers as well. For health and social care, I had a flashcard set that I made on Quizlet as well, that had basically a bunch of key facts that I needed to know, which I've linked in the description again. And I also watched documentaries as well on different stuff within health and social care, just random stuff like working in the A&E, the childhood obesity crisis I think I watched as well. Just random stuff that had helped me understand different aspects of health and social care. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I did. And if you found this video helpful, I'm planning on making tons more in the upcoming months for GCSEs and A-levels, and maybe university as well. So if you don't want to miss out on that, then subscribe to stay tuned. And yeah, that's about it. I don't think I have anything else to say other than good luck with all your exams. You got this, and yeah, bye guys.